Hello and welcome, everybody, to another RS podcast. I'm Rob from RS, and today I am joined by the very handsome Paul Whitrow from TRamp, or some people may know it in its slang term, TRamp.
Yeah, the number of people who call it TRamp.
TRamp.
No, it's not. It's Tramp.
But you don't want TRamp. Maybe they don't like saying Tramp.
Tramp. I think that's more my style.
Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Let me start by saying it's like looking in the flattery mirror.
When I grow up, I want to look just like you.
Oh, we're just going to morph. Men our age are just going to morph into...
Yeah, I think you're younger than me, though, aren't you?
Apart from Clarky, because I don't know what's going on with that. He's got the beard, he's got the specs, he's got the bald head, but...
He could be our third brother.
It's not working now, is it?
He could be like the runt.
The shit one in Right Said Fred.
Right. Yeah.
But you're the shit one out of your brothers, aren't you, Rob?
Oh, I don't know.
We know. We've met
I don't know. I would say no. But I don't know. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to be seen.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I was trying to think on the way up. When was the last time I came?
Celebration was the last time.
That's the last time I saw you, but the last time I was up at your place, it's got to be 4 or 5 years ago.
I think it was just before COVID.
Yeah. In fact, I can tell you when it was.
Because you came up when we were watching the museum thing.
That's right. That was the last time.
And that was literally just before the proverbial hit the fan.
Yeah. It's weird to think that we had all that time in between. It doesn't just disappeared.
Yeah.
Time is nothing now.
Ridiculous. The only thing that happened is we got older.
No, I didn't. I went to sleep in a stasis chamber. Woke up when it was all over.
Did you build it?
I did. Yeah. I spent first part of lockdown building a stasis chamber to survive it. A bit disappointed it wasn't a zombie apocalypse, to be fair.
Well, it's probably coming. So we should probably talk about a little bit about why you're here, other than the devilish good looks. You are a bit of an electronic whiz.
No, not really a whiz. I do stuffs. Other people do stuffs too.
Yeah, I think other people consider you a whiz.
A whiz. Is that the posh way of saying it?
So yeah, you
I play. I dabble.
You make the voice amps.
Yep.
For costuming.
Yep.
We call it costuming. We don't call it cosplay, do we? We call it costuming.
Call it what play?
Exactly.
I don't know what that is.
You make the voice amplification units.
Yeah.
Which is TRamp.
Yeah.
I presume that's
character
where
enhancement. I like to think of it as.
I like it.
I might use that in marketing from now on. I think.
I like it. And then, is that when the blasters came after that?
Actually, it was all kind of organic. The way it came about, when I joined the UK Garrison, which was 2014, I think. So yeah, decade.
UK Garrison. That's 501st.
Yeah, 501st.
Part of
the UK
worldwide
UK
501st.
Should I say?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first time I put the costume on and went out in public, I didn't have any kind of systems on at all, and nobody could hear me speak. I was shouting everywhere, and I came back in. I thought, this is a bit poo. As I've got an engineering background, I thought, well, I'll make myself something. So I did that, put it on next time I went out. Other people saw it. Other customers, I should say, saw it and asked if I could make one for them. So I did. And it kind of just grew from there. Really.
Just snowballs.
It snowballed from there, exactly. And the same with the blaster, too. First one was for myself, mainly because I just wanted to have one that pew-pewed properly. And then again, people saw it and wanted it for themselves.
So
that was 8 years. 8 years I've been doing this now, I think.
You're talking about this quite normally, like oh yeah, I decided I want a blaster that had sounds and lights, so I just made one. Okay, most people can't do this. So what kind of background have you got on how did you get to the point where you thought, oh, I'll just make one and
I have a little man under
execute
the
it?
stairs, and I pay him copious amounts of money to do everything for me, and then I take all the glory.
Does that include building the blasters?
Yeah, everything.
Okay.
Everything. I started when I was, 7 years old, I think it was. And my great aunt bought me a Ladybird book. And those of us of a certain age will remember the Ladybird books. It was the Ladybird book of electronics. And in there had very simple stuff like batteries, bulb, bit of wire in between where you move the hook around and then the bulb lights up if you complete the circuit.
Like at the fairground.
Exactly right, but obviously a 10p version of that.
Okay.
And that was the first thing I ever made, and that got me hooked. And from there, back in my parents' house, they used to have a room just off the kitchen, which was a storage kind of room. But out there was a little workbench and some power, so I got a soldering iron and set everything up in there. And that's where I used to spend 90% of my youth was spent in there, just learning and building and creating and electrocuting myself so many times I can't tell you.
Did you? Mm-hmm. With what, like batteries?
With mains.
With mains?
Yeah, so many times.
How are you not dead then?
It's a good question, actually. Good question. Don't know.
Have you got any favourite electrocution stories?
Not really that I can think of.
No?
No, not really. They tended to get a bit tingly and then they all mingled, so maybe it was something frying my brain each time I got them, so I don't know.
Yeah. We've all been electrocuted. We know what
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Just part of life.
You should try it, kids. It's great.
Have you ever been electrocuted?
Yeah, I remember.
From the mains?
Yeah,
Would you like to be?
I remember. I've rigged this up. There's a good chance it's going to happen anyway. My mum taught me how to wire a plug when I was fairly youngish, maybe 7 or 8, because she wanted me to understand stuff like that. She's very practical. And I remember having this extension lead that ran around my room, and I wanted to plug something in the other end, and it only had one plug. I was like, well, I can take that short one, take the 4-pin off and fix it. Didn't unplug it from the wall.
Right.
And did it and got electrocuted. I remember sitting on my bed, and I don't know what was worse, the fear of being electrocuted or the fear of my mum finding out what I'd done. And, the potentials of death or burning the house down and stuff like that. But that was the only time I've ever been electrocuted.
I do remember a story now, actually. And ironically, it was building a gun.
Oh.
Yeah. It was the handle off my father's motor. I cut the handle off. That didn't go down very well. But I cut the handle off because it had a nice trigger mechanism on it. And it was a one-handed piece. And I thought that would be really nice. I'll turn that into a gun. And I plugged it in and I was doing some testing with it. And I forgot I had it plugged in and picked it up and pulled the trigger while I was holding the 2 wires through the other end. Yeah, that was a good day. That was a good day. So not only did I nearly kill myself, my father then nearly killed me.
Can mains kill you?
Yeah, it can do in the right circumstances, yeah.
Well, I just wondered because
Yeah.
you do these things, don't you? Where you does this fuse work?
Yeah, we used to play around with it where I worked.
I don't have to close the back of the plug up to check the fuse. I'll just plug it
Stick
in.
your tongue across it and I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Like we used to do with 9-volt batteries, remember
that's
that?
the old joke, innit?
Yeah, stick your tongue across it.
Yeah.
What would it do if we got Becca outside with a nose piercing and got the 9-volt battery on each side of it?
That'll just short the battery, but you can get a nice
Will
little
it get
pop
warm?
out of it.
Will it get warm?
Yeah, it might do. Depends on the caliber of the steel, how
What about
strong
car
it is, how
battery?
thick it is. Oh, car battery would be good. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that one. That'd be much better.
I have on more than one occasion not attached jump leads properly, and had that second or two of absolutely shitting yourself when you're more concerned you're going to blow it up. There was also when I was out in Australia with my mate, the van we bought had a shit stereo. So the priorities, the first thing we did was when I bought a decent stereo with a CD player back in 2009 and one we could plug an iPod into.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd fitted countless car stereos in my time and never had a problem. And with this one, the main live disconnected from it and touched the engine casing, the chassis of the car inside. and then proceeded to do a Mission Impossible, just going.
Oh, as it burns down the case,
down,
the covering wire. Yeah.
So in my wisdom, I grabbed hold of the cable
That's clever.
as it went through one side of my hand, and I couldn't let go, and then came out the other side of my hand and continued to burn down. And I ragged it out of the fuse box before it hit the main fuse box of the van, because I thought, that's it. That's our trip over. We had the van 2 days, and we're going to blow it up in this campsite. But I was at this mark, at this burn down my hand for months.
Yeah, burning flesh is one of those smells you never forget.
I think that's what got me into barbecue, to be honest with you.
Outstanding. I won't ask about what sauce you're using.
Anyway,
Next question.
enough about me.
So, so you're a maker and a doer. You think you've always been that?
Yeah,
way of
it's. I've always had an interest in how things work, no matter what that thing may be. I've always had an interest in how it works, whether it was cutting apart worms when I was a kid, or oh yeah, don't lie, we've all done it.
I don't think I did it to find out how it worked, though.
Oh yeah, totally. I was like, well, what makes this worm work? I'll just cut that apart and have a look. Oh, it doesn't work anymore. Why? Why? So yeah. So from that to taking apart every Christmas present that I was ever bought, I think within 2 days it was apart and busted, and like, how did that work?
And you couldn't
From
get
as
it
far
together.
back as I can remember. And many times I did, but not always. Not always successfully. But then I'd reuse it for other things. So it was never wasted. Never wasted.
So you make the amp, then you made
Excuse me. The blast.
the blaster,
Yeah.
but now you're doing some quite, I don't know what we're going to say, avant-garde maybe,
In terms of
with the effects that you're trying to put into toys and
yeah,
RC stuff and smoke and
there's been a lot of fun things
it's all kind of visual effects kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, essentially what I do, like I said about the audio enhancements or costume enhancements, what I try and do is bring into the real world as close to what you see on screen as possible. Audio, visual, whether that includes smoke and all sorts of things. Just to try and elevate the experience for both the user and the people observing as well. For example, with the blasters, before I built mine, and we've all done it again in costume, you give kids or whoever wants it your blaster for a photograph to hold. And the number of times they've just kind of like turned it over, looked at it and go, it's just a toy, I got one of these at home. So that's what drove it. And that's why I started putting the displays in the optics, in all the effects that go with it, and movie accurate sound effects and so on, and making it work, in quotes, as you would see in the movies. And it totally changed the interaction that they had with that prop when they were handed it. So it's about layering up the realism for those you're interacting with.
And now you're doing, I mean, what are the other kind of projects that you've done?
Well, those
I know about the
there's some I can't tell you about. You see,
well, just keep it clean.
yeah, NDRs. No, not for that reason. No, I don't do sex toys anymore. I don't make those anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
Not after the accident.
No, the bottom fell out of the market. Not since the accident. I just realised what you said. Yeah, not since the accident. So there's all sorts of things that I do. Like you mentioned about the toys. I played around with doing 1/6 scale lightsabers and things like everyone else has done with the tubes inside. And then decided I wanted it to work more like a real lightsaber. So created a 1/6 scale, I guess, replica, you could say, of the full-size ones that you can get on the market now, with all the light effects.
With the lights.
Yeah, the sounds, the flash and clash and everything else. And I've actually got a really, really tiny micro motion sensor that is, whenever I get around to it sometime in the next 20 years, I'll put that little micro sensor in the hilt as well, so it works just like a 1/6 scale real lightsaber.
So as you move it,
When you move it, yeah. So you'll get like this smooth swing effect when you do that. many years ago, I built my own lightsaber from scratch, which was nice because as well as doing all the parts, sourcing and getting all the parts, and I'll give him a quick plug. I got them from JQ Sabers. Love Darren; he's a great chap. So I got all the parts and then cobbled together exactly how I wanted it to be, and built the own internals for it as well, and wrote all the programs for it and things. Created my own smooth swing replica, if you like, of the way that it should work when it moves. And yeah, I was quite pleased with the result.
So you make some quite crazy stuff.
It's just toys, really.
But is it possible for someone to actually come to you and commission you?
Absolutely.
Or purchase?
Yeah. I've done all sorts of things. Yeah, all sorts of things. Not just individuals, for companies as well. I did some work. I'll just say in the Marvel universe, did that real world working prop version for something for them. Other companies I've done work for and individuals. Very often an individual will come to me with a gun that they want me to. Can I say gun on a podcast?
Yeah.
Is it like YouTube where they just cut that bit out?
I doubt it.
Can I say bleed?
Yeah.
Can I swear?
Let's try it.
That's fucking bloody brilliant, mate. So, very often an individual would come to me with a gun that I haven't necessarily worked on before. It might not be an E11 or something like that. And they'll say, can you put electronics in these? And so far, I've always been able to. There's only one recently I've not been able to do it on because there just simply wasn't enough room in the prop itself. So, but other than that, so far.
you have worked on my Snow Wolf.
Yes, yours was the first Snow Wolf.
rifle.
Yeah, yours was the first Snow Wolf M41 that I did. And it turned out rather well, actually.
I know you do some of the Field Marshal Blaster Factory.
Yeah, Chris Vandenberg from Blaster Factory. He makes some amazing weapons. I shouldn't call them weapons. Replicas. Makes amazing replicas.
Yeah.
And quite a few people buy his, and then he'll ship them over to me, and I'll install the electronics, assemble the weapon, the replica, and then ship it back to whoever it belongs to. In fact, I have, for my own costume now, I have one of Chris's E11s with blast effects in there, and I think it was probably the first one that I did of his. And it's, again, it elevates the, pardon me, it's the pizza coming back. It elevates the experience for the person that you're interacting with, as well as yourself. You know, it feels great when you're walking around with a metal as opposed to a toy gun. But again, when you hand that, not just to kids, but to adults as well, and it's got the full electronics going on inside of it, and they can see it, and they can play with it and interact with it, and it feels so real.
So are you a full-on gadget guy?
Love gadgets.
Yeah.
Everything is about
You like
gadgets.
it to do more than one thing?
Yeah. I see it as enhancements. It's kind of, I'll look at something and go, it should do that. Why isn't it doing that? Can I make it do that? And as well as the stuff that I already do, there's hundreds of little projects I've started over the years. In fact, over the very recent years. And just haven't got time so far to finish off. But at some point I will.
I know you are very busy.
That's an understatement. Yeah. You're lucky I've got the time to come and see you today.
I know. Well,
in fact, I did cancel the first time around, didn't I?
let's talk a little about why you have come today.
Sure.
We are, as you know, you've been in the studio today. You've seen all the Boushh helmets.
Boushh.
Yeah, the Boushh helmets.
Boushh.
Yeah, and the Princess Leia Boushh helmets. And we've known each other a long time. We've always got like house on fire.
Well, I'm glad you think so.
Looked up to you as a big brother.
Thank you.
Big older brother. And and we talk so many times about doing something and never really managed to. The blasters for us are a bit of a thorn in the side.
Yeah, it would be lovely to get the stuff into your blasters, but the way that they're assembled at the moment is not possible.
I love the way you.
Well, it is possible. It just takes forever.
You get the full metal blasters, and you put all the sounds and the electronics and all the wires and everything in there.
It's not just the full metal ones. I mean, don't forget this mark
yeah,
as well.
but you
from
do
Trooper
those
Cooler.
ones, and then you ship them out, and you don't have an issue. And then we make a resin blaster that doesn't have any moving parts whatsoever, and we have trouble shipping it. I think they're onto us. They know what to look for.
I think it's more a case of they let good stuff go out of the country and they want to keep the crap inside.
There's something happening because they don't like it. I'm guessing you don't. I would say don't use FedEx. That's why I would.
I haven't tried with FedEx, actually.
Well,
I tend to use
honestly,
other companies.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Nightmare. But for a long time, we've talked about doing something, and then it never quite. I don't think we had a lot of impetus on the blasters because they can be problematic for us. However,
I did put one in yours, remember? When I was up here, I think it was the time before I did your Snowwolf, actually. I spent a few days and converted one of your blasters.
Yes.
It was a fun day. Fun few days.
Great results, but
it was strenuous.
I'm just concerned on the knowing the issues we have elsewhere. Maybe the customers get them out and they're just like, no, and they just put it back in where they get yours out, and they're like, woohoo!
It would be really nice if
they're
there were
playing with it and they're
it would
making
be
all the
really
sounds.
nice if there were people somewhere along the postal journey that looked at it and went, "Oh no, that's clearly a toy.
Yeah,
that's not going to hurt anybody." But expectation versus reality. Hoping to find somebody who has common sense in this modern world seems to be a dying thing.
Yep. So we never really got a project off the ground. However, Boushh, the very first thing I thought of when we were considering all the elements that we needed to cover on this with build, paint, leather, electronics.
I'm very happy to help you improve your Boushh, mate.
Well,
Boushh. Yeah, sorry.
Well, that was the first name that came to mind. Let's invite Paul to do this.
Thank you, dude.
Because at last, maybe we can do something.
Yes, certainly hope so. Well, you've seen today that I brought you a couple of items to look at.
Yeah.
And we'll be moving forward with those, which is fantastic.
So I got in touch and said, we want these, want some lights, and it's for the movie, and it flashes, and it does this, that, and the other, and I don't know why I should have anticipated it, but you've done the lights, and then you've gone one better and added remote control, sound effects, and music, and obviously all character related.
Yep. Well, again, the idea would be, why have it just sat there on the shelf when you can actually interact with it?
Yeah. So loved playing with that today. Good. The range on that thing is fantastic.
Yeah, it surprised me, to be fair. That was an insane distance.
That's really good. You need to definitely make some. I mean, you could make the ultimate whoopee cushion, couldn't you? Just a small little device somewhere you could put it in a room.
Well, not everybody knows this, but on the audio units, the TRamp audio units that I make, one of the default profiles on there is called Windy for that reason. I'm not sure if everyone out there who's got one recently has.
So you can just put the speaker in a room somewhere or near someone, and then.
Yeah. In fact, going back a few years ago, at one of the conventions, there was a TK stood in front of me, so I switched onto the Windy profile, hooked this thing just on the top of his TD, and as he walked off, I kept clicking it. So he was making lovely farty noises as he walked around, much to everyone else's enjoyment, but not so much his.
So, yeah, you surprised us a little bit with that. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Cool.
We're gonna play around with it, put it out there, let people know, and see where it goes.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really pleased to be finally working with you. As you said, we've known each other a long time now, and it's actually a pleasure to finally be working with the legendary and world famous RS Props.
Well, that's more the other guys that work here, really.
I didn't want to go that far, but yeah, since you bring it up.
I generally just make the tea.
Only when I'm here, apparently.
Did he make you tea?
He did make me tea
Really?
today. He did. He even asked if I wanted sugar.
Wow.
He didn't just assume.
Wow.
Oh, you got to ask. You can't.
I know. That's only because I kept saying, "Where's my bloody tea?" But you know,
I'm just surprised because with Paul not being here, RS Paul, obviously he's Rob's tea intake's gone down by probably 400-500%.
I don't think about it. I'm just that busy and focused.
let's see. This is
The
it
last
because
thing I
I've just
think
been
about.
sat here on a stool all day.
And then someone, Paul will bring me a tea, and I'll be like, "Do you know what? I really needed that." And didn't even realise because I was just so laser focused on getting this thing built, or getting this thing formed, or getting this thing ordered, or getting this problem solved.
I totally get it.
Or just generally daydreaming.
I totally get it. You absolutely looked so focused today. I couldn't believe it. Never seen anything like it in my life. Anyone so as focused as you.
Laser.
It was impressive to watch, man.
I keep telling Clarky we need to film more of
More
that.
focus.
Yeah.
More
need to
focus.
film more of that.
More focus.
Focus on the focus.
100%.
And projecting.
100%.
Because it's unreal.
He's not looking very happy.
He's not biting. Is he?
Doesn't look happy.
He's not biting.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the comments on
Yeah, hopefully they'll be positive, but even if they're not,
On
you
the
know, we'll
sound.
take all kind of
the
feedback.
sound stuff.
Yeah, I've,
Well,
I've got somebody very special lined up to build them for us as well, so it's not going to take any more of my time. But as you know, my daughter is going to be building them.
Yeah.
And she's very good at soldering, and she's very much looking forward to making these things. So
Well, yeah, I think the timing all worked out quite nicely on that.
it did. She's going to be at home for 6 weeks with absolutely nothing to do, so she's going to work for free. It'd be brilliant. Brilliant. Keep kids
Well,
busy.
you say for free, but, they don't contribute anything.
No,
do they?
well, being a teenager, I'm sure I'll pay for it in some way or another.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Sure you will. We all do. Clark is just getting to that stage.
What stage? He's shuffling.
I think his daughter's 12 going on 16.
Oh, right.
12 going on 20. I've got a
Yeah.
1-year-old that's easier.
Well
Yeah,
done,
I
guys,
agree.
Anyway. I've got boys. I'm not cut out for girls.
Right, Evie's 14 and a half now.
Oh, is it in the name then?
Yeah, because yours is Evie too, isn't it? Yeah. It's got to be in the name.
Yeah,
I
Rob.
know she'll hear this and she'll agree.
Rob believes that you get the he wouldn't be able to deal with girls, so therefore he was gifted with 2 boys because he can just instill his misogynistic.
That's
attitude
my
in
boy.
them. Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to cope with girls.
yeah. I tell Rob stuff every now and again, and he's like,
It's outside of my remit.
Even the dog at home is female, so there's a lack of testosterone. You're lucky I got trousers on, actually. Most of the time I just walk around in a dress. It's much better. It's freeing. It's very freeing.
Yeah, you're very modern.
Well, I like to think progressive.
Yeah.
Very progressive. I try to be.
So, what exciting projects might you have up your sleeve?
Pardon me. There's a lot of ongoing projects. Some things I can't talk about because of NDA. Past projects. There's some things I got planned for the future. There's upgrades to the existing kits which I've got planned. Everything moves forward in terms of the kits that I do. Everything changes all the time because there's the ongoing microchip shortages cause problems, and some parts become available, some parts don't become available. So you then start having to seek alternatives or alternative ways of achieving the same thing you've been doing for the last 6 months or however long it may be. So things are always changing. Always works.
When I come and see you at a convention, you've always got a load of new stuff on the table in front of you.
Toys, yeah. It's not always new. Some of it's quite old, but I just rotate it because I get bored looking at the same thing too. Yeah. So new stuff? No, not really. Not really.
I loved. I think it was the first time I met you at a convention. I think I met you at RS, but the first time I saw you at I think it was Birmingham Comic Con, whatever the official name is. You had the thermal deck, the Boushh thermal deck.
Oh, the TD, yes.
Yeah, that was lovely.
Yeah, I've still got that.
Yeah, beautiful little piece.
I'd like to get one day, the proper metal one. I've got a couple of metal blasters from Chris now. I think I got the A180. Oh, that's not his, actually. That was an airsoft. Luger conversion kit that I took apart and put all the electronics in. Things like that are great fun to work on, because once you take them apart, you've got all of these metal pieces which slide together perfectly, and everything's engineered to be nice and tight. And you got to think, okay, how am I going to get wiring in, and all the circuit boards and everything else I need to put in here? So you end up cutting and milling and grinding away loads of material in order to route wires and put things in safely. And yeah, it's a bit of work, but I like the challenge of doing it. That's the engineering side of me. I like knowing where I need to get the project and then working towards getting it there. Doesn't always succeed, but you know.
Yeah. Do you have any of these wild ideas where you think, oh, I'm going to try and do that, and if I use this, that work, I'll probably get this effect? Do you ever have any ideas and you can't quite pull them off?
Yeah, all the time. Always. And all you do is either shelve it for the time being and think, okay, I'll go back to that when I've thought of something else. Or when I'm asleep and my brain works, which is rare, which is very rare. I tend to work stupid hours very often through the night. I'll average 60 plus hours a week. Yeah, it's a lot of work. But being an insomniac helps, so.
And you like that? You're a bit of a workaholic then?
I can't shut down, even when I'm...
certainly identify with that.
Yeah, even when you're sat there watching telly, I get twitchy because I've had an idea and I want to do it, or there's something I need to get done, and there's an order I need to complete, or whatever it may be. You know, I get twitchy sat there watching TV. It's, working from home, as you know, it's quite difficult sometimes. You can't switch off.
I really, every day I need to have kind of made something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, if I spend the day, some days, like a bad day, I call them a bad day, I'll come in and I've got stuff in my mind where I'm going to make this, I'm going to make that, you know, at least get it to this stage or whatever. And then things will get in the way, you know, problems will need solving, and then I'll be tied up with messaging or ordering or doing a load of other stuff.
Oh, messaging, mate. Don't you?
And if I get to the end of the day and I've not completed, and felt like I've achieved, you know, this.
Yeah, if you haven't done hands-on on something. Yeah, I feel exactly the same.
I hate that. That's the bit that's the drive.
Yeah,
having it there and like looking at it.
Yeah, being able to take this curmudgeonous mess of parts that sits in front of you, and to be able to take it through to completing an actual thing, whatever that object may be. It's a great feeling. But I think that's engineering in its purest form, and that's what we love to do. And like you say about the other things that you have to get involved in, the admin, the messaging, which is insane. You cannot keep up with.
Yeah, I really try not to get involved in as much of that as possible. If anyone's ever messaged me, they'll know that. See,
I don't have secretaries, people working for me. People like Clarky. You know, I don't have a Clarky. This is the problem.
I really, really struggle with all of that.
It's so difficult to keep up because it's like, for instance, people say, "Oh, it's only one message. I only sent you one message. Why can't you answer it?" Well, okay, you might have sent just one message, but then there might have been 100 of you over the course of a weekend. And if I'm able, let's say on a Monday morning, to get through 10, that still means there's all that lot outstanding for the rest of the week and the next weekend, and then you have all the new ones to add to that. And it's across all of the platforms too. It's not just one platform.
And your 10 replies.
And the 10 replies, exactly. Because it's never just a one-word thing. It's a conversation which can... I mean, on average, I spend 30, 40 hours a month just trying to get through messages, and that's a
Yeah,
whole week's work.
I do struggle with that, especially when we come back to that.
the creative side of things. Yeah,
I made this.
Yeah,
'Cause because that's what drives us.
yeah, totally.
Really, the creation of the thing is.
Yeah,
is
and
the
all of
thing.
that, of course, is before you even get into the whole trying to be a family man and doing what's right and splitting your time for them and everything. That's the problem with not
hunting and
having
gathering.
Yeah,
I know what
having
you're
a
saying.
9 to 5 would be a luxury. I'll be honest. But we do this because we love it.
Yeah,
because
but
at
would
the
you
end of the
really
day,
want
it's something that we've produced out of our own heads.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do enjoy that. That's the thrill of it for me more than anything else. And we just get through it as best we can. Really, it's been a tough few years, and to even still be here is a what's the word I'm looking for? Is a joy, is a win, is it's a thing I'm grateful for. Let's put it that way. To even still be here doing this, I'm very grateful. Very grateful.
I know exactly what you mean. So if somebody wants to check you out,
Yep.
they can find you on what? Grinder?
Tinder, Grinder, all of those apps. I'll be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just look for Tramp on Grinder, and you'll find a picture of something, I'm sure. The Facebook page is /TrooperAmp. In fact, it's TrooperAmp on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And I don't have the time, and I can't be bothered with any other of the social channels. So it's those 4 or nothing.
Okay. So what was that? Facebook, Instagram,
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
the old ticky-tocky.
Yeah, I don't do all of them at the same time. It's not like I spend hours going through the social media stuff. I might pick one of the channels per week and dump a video on there of what I've just finished. Or
Yeah, people can get on there, check out the
They can have a look at some of the videos of the
some
toys.
of the weird and wonderful
Yeah.
creations you have made.
Yeah, it's been some interesting things.
They certainly has.
I did enjoy. I made the chainsaw. Did you see the chainsaw that I did?
No,
Put the
chainsaw
electronics
sounds
into a
good.
chainsaw. Yeah, there was an unfortunate story at the back of that, but the chainsaw itself, I enjoyed doing that one. Yeah, enjoyed doing that one.
I will check that out.
There's lots of other things on there.
Okay. Well, I'm super excited for.
Oh, is that it? Am I going there then? Am I? It sounds like you're like, right. Well, that's it. I'm done now.
No, we can chat all night.
Ah, okay.
What do you like to tell me about?
What would you like to talk about? What star sign are you?
Taurus.
Taurus. That sounds like bull.
It is.
Okay. Do you come here often?
Every day.
I don't have much chat up game. I'm sorry.
Oh, I've moved.
Yeah, you moved.
I'm moving back now.
So you moved to get comfortable, didn't you? That's what that was. I'm going to move as well, just to annoy him. Let's keep doing that.
I'm just checking your camera now because he's making me paranoid about that one, but the screen's gone off, even though he was asking me if it had a
Pain in the ass.
So, you have. I need to stop saying so.
Yeah.
Someone's told me that I say so far too many times. Clarky.
So I have a long way to drive home.
Yes, you've come up from Bristol.
Yes, I am a Somerset boy, born and bred. So I'm actually just outside of Bristol. I'm in between Bristol and Weston-super-Mare. We're on the coast. It's lovely. It's lovely. Brown water, sludge, a lot. Like
Nice.
Lots of combine harvesters. It's fantastic.
It sounds good. Well, I should come and visit you sometime.
You should. Well, you keep threatening to, but you never do.
Yeah, I'll come down and check out your wardrobe, see what you've got in there.
Okay.
Bought the jacket. If you remember the jacket.
You did, actually. I've got another jacket, which you might like too.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't want you copying that one as well, so
Why not?
I never wear it when you're around.
Yeah, but we're like the opposite ends of the country.
It didn't stop you the last time.
No, but we don't wear them at the same events.
We have done.
Well, we can.
We have done.
We can converse next time.
You know that moment. That moment when you walk into a party and someone's wearing the same thing as you.
Our message interaction is probably not the best. So.
No. It takes 4 days for any one of us to respond to each other.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind a trip down there. Have a little paddle in all the raw sewage.
You should. Yeah. Well, it's not so much raw now. I think it's pre-treated before it's dumped in the water.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I could be wrong.
Not like the good old days then.
No, not like the good old days. You knew where you were then.
Yeah. Ankle deep in it.
Ankle deep in it, absolutely.
Right, well, it has been a pleasure.
It's been an experience.
I'm glad you came up. I'm hoping people have got... the people that are new to you might have had their eyes open to your creations that have been listening and watching for the last few weeks. I can reassure them and say that the electronics for the Boushh helmet are in very safe hands.
Yeah, she'll do well. Not mine.
And,
my daughter's. She'll do well. My hands, you don't want them in.
And people should definitely check out your social media.
Yeah, there's lots of videos on there. I try not... There's a lot of the same types of gun, to be fair. But I try and mix them up. Do different things. Show people different things.
So I forgot where we're up to now.
Saying goodbye.
Yeah, the Boushh helmet project is in safe hands.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm really looking forward to
Finally
working with you.
working together. Having my little brother on board.
Yeah, this could be the first of
This could be
other
something
projects.
beautiful.
It already is.
You didn't have to say that looking deep in my eyes, man. That was bad. That was bad.
But yeah, cool. Always a pleasure. We've had a nice day.
It's been lovely. It genuinely is lovely. It's always nice to come up and see you guys anyway.
Yeah.
And to remember that there is life north of Birmingham.
Yeah, and at some point I am going to come down. If I can squeeze a bit of time in, I'll come down. Maybe I'll come down and pick up the lights.
That's a good excuse for doing
We'll turn it into a road trip.
It's a good excuse for doing it.
And then you can show me lots of toys.
Yeah.
And we can talk Space 1999 comlinks.
Let's see. You said Space 999. I was never a fan. I know I'm going to get it in the neck, but I was never a fan.
It doesn't matter how bad it is.
Okay.
Right. Well, until next time. Thanks
Good
for
to
your
see you,
visit.
man.
And you.
See you. Or can I go now?
You're looking very well, by the way. Looking very well.
That's because you fed me
Keep it up.
today. You gave me pizza today. And a Twix.
Oh, I didn't get a Twix.
I think it was a Twix. He came back and said, I got you a Twix. He might have been to the loo. I'm not sure.
He's definitely been to the loo.
It was nutty, whatever it was.
Yeah, those nutty Twixes.
Yeah.
Slightly melted.
I even dressed up for you. Like,
It's too much information. Yeah, you look very smart. You look very smart. I'm just thinking, waistcoat might suit me. What do you think?
yeah, when you come down, I'll expect you to be wearing a shirt and waistcoat.
You've got that leather one you wore without a shirt for your album cover, didn't you?
Yeah, but it doesn't work without the chaps.
The Blue Oyster Boys.
Right said Rob.
I don't need those images in my head.
They exist. I've already photoshopped them years ago.
Don't want them.
Yeah, we don't need to see that. Well, on that note, I think we should consider ourselves lucky.
That any of this interview doesn't have to be cut out, you mean?
And thank you once again for joining us.
My pleasure.
And until the next time.
Hasta luego. Impressed with that, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so was I.
I don't know what it means.
More pizza, I think.
We can do that.
Yeah. Right.